Hello there, good afternoon. You're watching ABC Midday. This is ABC Midday. My name is Eric Melo. Coming up in the headlines. Should the adjournment of parliamentary sitting be of great concern to Ghanaians as business continue to hang out in recall of parliament? Well, experts have raised varying concerns of its implications. The New Patriotic Party is holding a presser on happenings in Parliament, and we will cross over to speak with our reporter Samuel Nimubo to give us more updates over there. Still to come in the bulletin, it is antics by Electoral Commission to disqualify potential candidates of its fault of the candidate. Now we will be bringing you more on this shortly as well. Later in business, Ghana's credit scoring system to be launched in November. We will explore its limitations as well. And later on the international front, the European Union Elections Observers Mission has said some voting results in Mozambique's presidential election have been doctored. Stay with us, we've got details of these coming up shortly. Out there. Now let's begin with the top story. The New Patriotic Party NPP caucus in Parliament is to trigger the Speaker of Parliament to recall the House. The leader of the side, Alexander Afenyo-Markin, Mr. Afenyo-Markin on Tuesday morning led his side for a walkout following a disagreement over sitting arrangements. When Parliament reconvened on Tuesday, the Speaker, Alban Kingsford Sumanu Gbagban, adjourned sitting indefinitely following lack of the numbers to take decisions, even though the House had the numbers to start business. The Speaker of Parliament, Alban Sumanu Kingsford Gbagban, informing the House, said even though they have the numbers to transact business, the House did not have the numbers to take decisions. Meanwhile, Cynthia Mamle Morrison, the Member of Parliament for Aguna West, has firmly denied rumors that she is reconsidering her decision to run as independent candidate in the 2024 general elections. The clarification comes after photos surfaced showing her with some majority members at Parliament's Job 600 office in October 22nd, 2024 on developing subject on concern in Parliament. The leadership of the New Patriotic Party is currently holding a press conference to address some of the concerns that borders on its members in Parliament. Joining us on the phone is Dr. Amachi Boateng. He is with the Kwame Nkrumah University Science and Technology Political Science Department. Good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon.
Now, beyond the petition to court and the confusion that has characterized yesterday's sitting, how best can you, as leaders or the leaders of the House, collaborate as Afenyo-Markin's also posture is being questioned right now?
Okay, thanks for having me, and good afternoon to your listeners. Politics is essentially conflict and cooperation, conflict and consensus, conflict and accommodation. No society can afford to stay in conflictual relations forever. The society will break up. We know what is happening to Somalia, we know what is happening to Sudan.
Yeah, sir, so are you trying to say that looking at the sittings and happenings in Parliament right now, things could lead into furthermore escalations in the near future?
To work together. Hello?
Yeah, I can hear you, sir, please.
Good. You realize that essentially people get elected to participate in parliamentary business. They are not necessarily supposed to be members of any political organization. The Constitution doesn't emphasize that. It doesn't talk about that. So essentially, once they get there, they are supposed to address themselves to government business.
Hello? Hello? Hello, sir? Well, we're trying to establish contact with him over there. Unfortunately, we have lost him in the line, but we'll try to engage him more. We understand as well that the NPP is holding a press conference at the headquarters, and we will also be moving straight to the headquarters soon, because my colleague Samuel Nimabo is there live to be bringing us more updates on that happenings over there. So let's as well, just as yesterday we saw visuals of Cynthia Morrison, surface on social media, because right after the sitting in Parliament, we saw visuals of Cynthia Mamle Morrison having quite a very interesting meeting with the majority, well, the NPP caucus, and it was speculated that she has rescinded her decision on contending as an independent candidate. Well, if eventually it turns out that she said she is still not backing up, but we have him back on the line again. Sorry, we lost you, sir. Okay, continue from where we lost you from.
Yeah, I was just suggesting that Parliament cannot be in conflictual situations, relations forever. They need to find ways to work together, to work as one body, members of Parliament, of Ghana. And so the two leaders have a task now to work this out. And whatever it is, Parliament cannot also be suspended, ad infinitum. They need to find ways to work. The onus is on the two leaders, especially, and also, of course, that of the Speaker. They need to find ways to, come back and proceed with the business that they, have been tasked to do. And they have got a lot of work to do before, the Parliament comes to an end.
Right, so we have also been engaging some stakeholders of this whole process. We have been speaking with some leaders as well, and most of them do say that it is the Speaker that started all this, because first off, he had no business taking that ruling. Now the Supreme Court also issued a stay, and yesterday in Parliament he says that, well, he's putting on hold every happenings in Parliament. In fact, he said he suspended Parliament, or has adjourned initially, indefinitely. What actually are we supposed to be expecting in the near future vis-a-vis this whole stay of injunction and the indefinite adjournment of Parliament?
We have two issues on our hands now. One, the Supreme Court has not necessarily landed as to what the meaning of those constitutional provisions are. And relative to the actions of the four members of Parliament. The Supreme Court has not landed. So as it is, we Ghanaians are waiting for the Supreme Court to really sit and give us their understanding or their interpretation of those provisions. And then two, the Speaker of Parliament also needs the opportunity, at least until the Supreme Court's final position comes out. The Speaker of Parliament, at least for now, needs the opportunity to speak to the issue. To the best of my understanding, he didn't have that opportunity yesterday, given the fact that he didn't have the required, number of members of Parliament for him to do his business. I don't think the blame game will do anybody any good, because, the legal experts have been given conflicting interpretation of what have occurred. So I don't think that is where we should stand now. One, the Supreme Court, will definitely have to sit and tell us exactly what it is with those two provisions. And then two, the Speaker of Parliament will also, together with the leaders, will also have to work out how they are going to come back.
Well, so in your own estimation, sir, how would you describe this 8th Parliament, especially that we have a hanging Parliament in session right now? How would you, in your own estimation, rate this Parliament?
Well, I don't think they have lived up to expectation. If anything at all, they supervise over, the borrowing of money. loans so much that now people are calling on the government to at least account for that. And then two, there is this, very disturbing issue with mining in the forest. It is this eighth parliament that also gave, if you like, came out with the LI, which has rendered something that was not legitimate now. So the eighth parliament, to the best of my understanding, has not lived up to expectation.
All right. So that is Mr. So he says that the eighth parliament apparently have not lived into expectation. So we also trying to engage our correspondents over there who currently is live at the NPP headquarters, Samuel Nimabo. We're trying to establish contact. We brought you earlier that the NPP says that they are holding a press conference right now. We do have my colleague Samuel Nimabo over there. Now, Sami, what actually is happening in the NPP headquarters, and what more can you add to this?
Right, Melo, I'm currently at the headquarters of the New Patriotic Party, where the party in GIPC will be addressing the media. We haven't picked official communication from the party on what really this presser is about. But what I have gathered since I entered here is that the likelihood that it will be on the issues that have happened or ensued over last week to this week in Parliament. So the party is perhaps going to give the official position on that. We are here to give our viewers up to date on what will be transpiring from the New Patriotic Party's headquarters. As we know, on Thursday, when the Speaker they made a ruling on a petition that was submitted to him on the floor of Parliament by the MP for Tamale South regarding some 4 seats he believed had crossed carpet. The Speaker on Thursday made his ruling vacating those 4 seats. However, the NTP in a quick manner, led by their leader, Afenyo Markins, went to the Supreme Court, and the Supreme Court gave a stay of execution of that ruling. Tuesday, which was yesterday, the Speaker was expected to also give his position on the Supreme Court ruling. However, in an unlikely mood, the Speaker decided to adjourn the House indefinitely to allow for further consultation between the two caucuses in the House. And we all know what happened in Parliament. The NDC saying that they had now the majority in the House, sitting on the right side of the Speaker yesterday, and the NPP caucus had to stage a walkout of Parliament, and so this is what the conversation is likely to be about, the media engagement that the party would be having in a short while. They gave us an indication that this was supposed to start at 12 noon, but we are still here yet. The event is yet to begin, but this is what I have picked up so far from the Party. The party is likely to speak on the issues that have ensued in Parliament over these few days.
Before you go, paint us a picture at the headquarters. Which personalities are present currently, and how is the atmosphere like?
Right. So far, not the big wigs of the party haven't really come in yet. I have cited the Deputy Communications Director of the New Patriotic Party, Kobia, in presence. And apart from Kobia, I'm yet to see the leadership like the national, the General Secretary of the party, the General Secretary of the party, Kodia Frimpong. I've not cited him. He's the one likely to address the press, because most of these press engagement, he's been leading it for the New Patriotic Party. So he's the person that is likely to address the press, but he's yet to come to the headquarters of the party. So far, it's just Kodia that I've cited, and beyond that, you can see a few of the party supporters and people who work at the headquarters, and then the media personalities are also trooping in numbers to give a live coverage of what will transpire here.
Well, Sami, I mean, I said before you go, but let me just add this one. So, looking at the tension that has been going on within the NPP itself, would the Cynthia Morrison conversation come up? I mean, if you poke your nose, or you have been poking your nose into what will be is expected to be happening in their presentation today, do you sense that there could be some conversations about Cynthia Morrison?
Yes, very much so. The party would likely address the tensions that have risen in the past week and or even past 2 weeks regarding the vacant seats that the speaker declared. If you speak to members within the New Patriotic Party, they said that this is a big blow. It has been a very big blow to them, especially with some of their MPs, sitting MPs, trying to go independent. We know the MP for Suhum is gone independent. The MP for Abunawe, Cynthia Mamle Morrison, is also gone independent. And look, these were not somehow expected, that they went against the party's code of conduct. And with the New Patriotic Party's position on their constitution directly says that if you cross carpet or you contest on any other ticket than the NPP, you automatically lose your membership. So these two people have automatically, by the party's constitution, lost their membership to the New Patriotic Party. However, yesterday there was some speculations on social media that these two persons, the MP for Suhum and Cynthia Mamle Morrison, had rescinded their decision to contest as independent candidate. However, the two all came out to say that report wasn't true. We are yet to see if the party will even touch on that, even at this presser, whether the party will touch on whether they are making moves to get these two persons withdraw from contesting as independent candidate and come back to the New Patriotic Party. If that so happens, it means that the figures in Parliament will change as well. It means that if NPP are able to get these two candidates, Suhum NP and Cynthia Mamle Morrison, to rescind their decision to go independent, then the figures will go back to its original position. The NPP will then go back to 137, which they will have numerical advantage over the NDC, who now gets 136. So it's a dicey situation for the party. We are yet to see if the party will comment on that, especially when it became a trending issue from yesterday and Cynthia had to come out. We saw pictures. She was in Parliament yesterday. Took pictures with the NPP caucus leader Afenya Martins, took pictures with Kennedy Ajapon as well, and other members of the NPP caucus in Parliament. And people thought that by that she had returned to the party. Then she came out to say, no, I haven't yet rescinded my decision to go independent. So maybe the party will touch on that as well to see whether they are making moves to get these persons to withdraw from contesting independent and come back to the party. Because as it stands now, the NPP need they need majority in Parliament if they want the last 2 months of the Akufo-Addo Bawumia government to be a smooth one for them. So we'll pick information as it comes from the party's own communication today.
All right, Sami, so keep an eye on that and let us know exactly what happens inside their press briefing shortly. So that's my colleague over there, Samuel Nimabo, who currently is at the NPP headquarters, and we will be bringing you more details on that shortly. Away from that, senior lecturer and political scientist at the Kumasi Technical University, Dr. Samuel Ifriye, has criticized the conduct of some MPs who stormed Parliament yesterday, Tuesday, October 22nd, with various displays which he has described as not honorable and unprofessional. Speaking at ABC in the morning, Mr. Samuel Ifriye called out the NDC caucus for marching in Parliament and acting not honorable. He stressed that Parliament is meant for serious business, and such act by MPs ridicule the beauty of Parliament.
They started was, should I say, in violence and ending in violence. That should not be the case. And what happened yesterday, as I saw some of our MPs marching and doing some of these things, is unprofessional, and sometimes we cannot describe this as honorable, and it sends some signal to the outside, that is other Ghanaians, to prepare their minds towards that. Even in Parliament we are defiant, even in Parliament, in court, we can misbehave, so you have the right. Because we also learned that some party members were also around where the parties were trying to organize themselves. That is why the Speaker asked the military to come around to ensure that there's peace and in order to help. That is to help as well. So for me, I think we need to be very, very careful so that we don't invoke the mindset of some kind of strong stand on issues that can be resolved even just some few seconds, so that we will not have that kind of.
Meanwhile, Mr. Efri has expressed strong concern regarding the Speaker of Parliament's handling of the recent case involving the declaration of 4 parliamentary seats as vacant. According to him, the Speaker, Right Honourable Alban Kingsford Bagbin, knows the right thing to do. He further urged the collaboration between the judiciary and Parliament to help improve democracy.
Between the judiciary and also the Parliament, and also within Parliament, there should be a good negotiations and also a way out. Because I think Lawyer Adolfo even said that still the status quo holds for the majority for the MPP and also the NDC as respectively. Because there's nothing that has changed. If the Supreme Court has come in, then you can recall Parliament and still hold on for any positions or whatever that needs to stand, so that after the ruling, maybe whatever, because that's some few weeks to go, and there are critical, I think, issues to be handled by Parliament. And I believe that there should be cool heads, as my brother said, that we are all stakeholders and we will sit down for just Parliament to make some few issues to make things ungovernable for all of us. And I think we are all part of it, and we need to ensure that they also need to ensure that they have a responsibility for their constituency.
Away from Parliament, the national president of the Universities Teachers Association of Ghana, UTAG, Professor Momudu Akudugu, has expressed deep disappointment over the indefinite suspension of Parliament, which has stalled critical legislative business, including the anticipated revocation of legislative instrument LI 2462. This comes on the back of the indefinite adjournment of parliamentary proceedings by Speaker of Parliament Alban Bagbin on Tuesday, October 22, following an order from the Supreme Court, which directed him to stay his earlier ruling that declared 4 parliamentary seats vacant. Reacting to this, he described these happenings as unfortunate and implored the government to show commitment towards revoking the LI 2462, as this remains the key consideration before UTAG will call off its strike.
Essence, and it is time that we don't have. Unfortunately, this is where we are. We are not very happy about happiness, and I think, as my colleague just said, there are other options available to get in the LI ineffective. And so if the parliamentary route seems to be blocked at this point in time, it is our hope that government would activate the other options, such as a declaration that is being suspended. We've seen that before. They told.
The Executive Director for Eco-Conscious, Awula Selwa, has questioned government's commitment to repealing legislative instrument LI 2462, which allows mining in forest reserves, following Parliament's indefinite adjournment. The adjournment, which was announced by Speaker Alban Bagbin, has sparked concerns that the government's promise to revoke the controversial law might be delayed indefinitely. The revocation of the LI 2462 was among the key measures outlined by government following calls of an immediate halt to illegal mining in and around water bodies and forest reserves by organized labor and civil society organizations. In an interview on ABC in the morning, Awula Selwa noted that the government failed to show genuine commitment towards ensuring the swift repeal of the regulations, as it had an option to adopting a similar means of having the regulations repealed.
Make an announcement that LI 2462 has been suspended. No more licenses are going to be issued. All the licenses that were issued have been revoked. Send your task force to the forest reserves, remove all the illegal miners and their equipment. Those who are there, arrest them. Those who are not there, you get the equipment. You can trace the owners, call them to help you with your investigations. And if they are complicit in the destruction of our forest reserves, they need to be investigated and prosecuted. We know how we treated the unarmed demonstrators, refusing them police bail for throwing a key away or whatever they are alleged to have.
Meanwhile, Awula Sewa urged government to consider a public declaration of suspension of LI 2462 following the indefinite adjournment of Parliament. According to her, it is very paramount for the government to act swiftly in repealing the regulations as the effect of illegal mining, commonly known as galamsey, poses an existential threat to the well-being of the country. She made these remarks in an interview on ABC in the morning.
Attempt to repeal LI 2462. Mind you, there's a school of thought that says that all the had to be done was that it could have been read in Parliament, stated in Parliament that we're revoking it, and that would be that. By laying it before Parliament, we knew perfectly well that it would be, if I am correct, 21 sitting days. And Parliament will stop sitting even if the Speaker had not adjourned sine die. Everything would have stopped on the 1st of November. So there would not have been sufficient sitting days anyway. There wouldn't have been sufficient sitting days. So really, the Parliament being suspended is a bit of a red herring. But then let's look at what is actually happening. What is happening is that there's no real fight going on. In Atronsu, for example, in the Western North region, illegal miners...
Kwame Dofo, a constitutional lawyer, has said that once a court makes a decision, it becomes superior to anything that existed before that. In line with that, Ghanaians should not worry too much about who is majority or minority in Parliament. Kwame Dofo states that this decision is because the Supreme Court is over. He said this on ABC in the morning.
Court states anything, it means or a procedure or process or an action. It means whatever existed before that time remains. So I can tell you without any equivocation that by virtue of the Supreme Court's orders, which has now been served on the Speaker, it means NPP is the majority, NDC is the minority. Anything, it means or a procedure or process or an action.
Samuel Obin, Executive Director for Parliamentary Network Affairs, said that until some measures are put in place for the resumption of Parliament, the indefinite adjournment of Parliament would affect some pending bills and other businesses.
What they are supposed to do and expected to do, and to do them in time to ensure that, we have things going on smoothly in our country, and not just the Supreme Court. This period of going back to have cooler heads should allow the majority and minority, in Parliament, the NDC caucus, the MPP caucus in Parliament, to reflect, to take the bigger picture of the national interest, as the angle they want to look at, and to come to the table to discuss how these things can be resolved to ensure that, Parliament's processes can go on. The same applies to Mr. Speaker. He has a responsibility to serve as the umpire that he is, and to bring people together to have these kinds of conversations. The Supreme Court, like you mentioned, has a responsibility to ensure that this whole issue around interpretation of Article 97(1) G and H, gets.
Meanwhile, he says Parliament's indefinite suspension is a call on all stakeholders to perform their duties in time to ensure a smooth running of the Ghanaian system. He added that the break should allow the parties involved in Parliament to reflect and have the national interest as their priority and resolve the issue at hand.
It's prevail, and we're able to have a better appreciation of how the issues that threaten to create some form of chaos in Parliament can be settled. You know, we can have the Parliament back to delve into some of the other businesses that, you know, are required to be held. It's unfortunate that it has to end up this way. Parliament wanted to take about 3 weeks to, you know, deal with some issues before members of Parliament went for elections. But it's important to also note that nothing stops Parliament from continuing with their engagement even after 7 December's elections, right up until the midnight of January 5th. Perhaps when cooler heads prevail and we're able to have a better appreciation of how the issues that threaten to create.
Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia, the flag bearer of the New Patriotic Party NPP, has reaffirmed his commitment to tackling Ghana's youth unemployment crisis. During a rally in Kpando in the Volta region, Bawumia reiterated his ambitious plan to create 1 million jobs if elected as Ghana's next president. His strategy focuses on equipping the nation's youth with essential digital skills, enabling them to compare in the global economy regardless of their educational backgrounds. Bawumia emphasized that addressing youth unemployment remains his top priority, noting that empowering young people with the tools and knowledge to access the growing digital economy is key to solving Ghana's unemployment challenges.
Ability. No country in Africa has been able to do it. We said it is possible, and we have done it. The first country in the whole of Africa to do mobile money interoperability. We are going to move to the next phase of digitalization. When you look at the developed world, US, Canada, UK, Germany, Japan, Australia, the cost of living or the ease of living in those countries is lower than ours. For them, if you want to buy something in the US or Canada or Japan or the UK, you don't need to have the cash to fully pay for it. They have what they call a credit system. Everybody has a credit score, and that allows you to get credit for a TV, for a computer, for a car, for a house, and then you pay small. After 3 years or 5 years, you pay for it.
Mr. Kofi Akpaloo, leader of the Liberal Party of Ghana LPG, has waded in on a recent disqualification of some presidential aspirants, asserting that the disqualifications are not of results of individual errors made by candidate and not the fault of the Electoral Commission. Speaking on ABC in the morning, Akpaloo urged that the EC's role is overseeing the electoral process is bound by strict regulations, and it is the responsibility of each candidate to meet the stipulated requirements. According to him, candidates who fail to follow these guidelines or make errors in their submissions have no one to blame but themselves.
The name is Kofi Akpaloo, the leader and founder of the Liberal Party, LPG. We are here for a simple reason. We have been invited here by the AC because NDC presented something. So after this delivery, we are expecting the NDC to respond before we can all comment, because that should be the norm. We cannot just, what are we going to say? Let us hear from the NDC what they have, and then we continue from here. Exactly. Thank you. So go and give it. My name is Kofi Akpabio, the next president of Ghana. I want to take this opportunity on behalf of all the other parties to commend the NDC. They have done the yeoman's job.
The Civil and Local Government Staff Association, Ghana CLOSAG, has said they have cause to declare a nationwide strike as a result of the long delay in the completion of a salary structure for a staff of the civil service and the local government system. Break, we return with more.
Over 5 million children have benefited from free SHS. Protect free SHS. Vote Dr. Baumia, #1 on the ballot. Over 5 million children have benefited from free SHS. Protect free SHS. Vote Dr. Baumia, #1 on the ballot.
Passport.
You made
me pay for express for 24 hours and yet it's not in.
You told me last year telling me this. What's going on? Hello.
This man here has taken my money. That within 24 hours he'll do my passport for me.
Oh,
see that's
the same thing applies to me. He told me last night. He's telling me this week.
Process.
That's what they do.
Yeah. Oh, madam. Please relax. I'll get for you in 24 hours.
Hey, Goroma. So you never change? Eh? You get passport for someone within 24 hours, Madam Obwa. See, the normal working hours is 9 to 5. Eh? Not 24 hours, I'm fat. You guys have made a very big mistake by trusting these people. Now, through digitalization, passport application has been made so easy. Now, you don't need to stress yourself and join any long queue for your passport. All you have to do is to log on to the Ministry of Foreign Affairs website and begin your application.
Sir.
By buying a passport application voucher online. Simple and easier. And very soon, all you need to get your passport will be your Ghana card.
What is it true?
Yeah, Obisa. It is possible.
You yourself, I didn't know this. I feel officer.
Come on. Come on.
We've got business coming up shortly. Kindly stay with us. In business, Dean of Faculty of Accounting and Finance at the University of Professional Studies, Accra, Professor Isaac Boadi, has applauded the Akufo-Addo administration for the upcoming launch of a credit scoring system in Ghana. In an interview on ABC in the morning, he said the credit scoring system is a good initiative by the administration and called it a game changer. Professor Boadi said that based on the nation's economic, financial and technological developments, Ghana is well positioned to adopt a credit scoring system, citing Ghana's well-developed and robust banking sector and expanding digital system. His submission is in regard to the upcoming launch of Ghana's credit scoring system on November 1, 2024 by Dr. Baumia.
So, say that for this credit score system is one of a good initiative by this current administration. This is what they call a game changer. This is called a game changer. And we want to thank the current administration for such initiatives. In fact, I would say we are well positioned to adopt a credit scoring system. We are well positioned to adopt based on our several economic, financial, technological developments. Based on these facts, we are ready. Now let's look at the financial sector. we have seen a growing financial sector in recent times. And I must say that Ghana has relatively well-developed banking sector, with institutions like the commercial banks, the savings and loans, the microfinance, and some rural banks, quite robust. And in terms of our financial product that we churn out there, I would say that yes, the system, the credit scoring system or score system must be supported by a digital infrastructure. And do we have that as a country? Yes, we have. Recently, we've seen the upsurge.
Meanwhile, Prof. Isaac Boidi has called on the implementers of the credit scoring system to invest greatly into financial education of the masses to impart Ghanaians and understanding of the system.
And Ghana, that has been our problem. It's my hope and prayer that implementers of this initiative will spend, if they have a budget they have to spend on this, they should spend huge budgets on this item, education. If they don't get education right, the fundamentals will have, the implementation will have issues. Because when people don't understand this whole thing, it creates mischief. Look at the drones. Look at the other initiatives that the government implemented. A lot of different meanings were given. So it's my prayer and my hope that we'll spend more time educating people, just as we are doing this morning. We will spend more time educate the masses for them to understand what is called credit score system.
Financial irregularities by ministries, departments and agencies, MDAs, reported between 2021 and 2023 are estimated at 4.89 billion Ghana cedis, almost 10 times the cost of the Livelihood Empowerment Agent Against Poverty program in 2023, while the financial irregularities have declined compared to the 13.94 billion Ghana cedis recorded between 2015 and 2020. The incidence of financial irregularities linked to taxes has worsened between 2021 and 2023, plugging the leakages has been increasingly important considering the current microeconomic circumstances. Ahead of the 2024 election, political parties have proposed numerous interventions in their manifestos to restore macroeconomic stability and strengthen fiscal accountability. Imani Center for Policy and Education, with the support of OXFMA, Ghana is assessing the physical recklessness of MDAs, using its physical recklessness index to advocate for fiscal prudence and accountability in the use of public funds. The third edition to examine financial irregularities by MDAs between 2021 and 2023 is underway, and my colleague Derek Isiedu joins us on to give us more reporting. That now, what more can you report, Kumi?
Okay, so Eric, currently I'm at the Tank Palace Hotel here in Accra, where Imani Ghana, with support from Oxfam, held their third Imani Oxfam conference focused on the level of fiscal recklessness index. The financial irregularity, which was based on the Attorney General's report with the AG defines fiscal irregularity as either losses that have been incurred by the state through a lack of probity in the action and decision of public officers. And the types of irregularities were tax irregularity, which takes 90% of the financial irregularities. We have cash irregularities, where some government institutions fraudulently withdraws money from the government institution. Debt and loans irregularity, we take 9% of the financial irregularities, contract irregularities. And according to Imani, as we approach election 2024, some political parties intend to address fiscal recklessness in the MDAs. With the new patriotic party, they promises to cut public expenditure by 3%, an equivalent of 30 million Ghana cedis annually, and redirect it towards the private sector provision of the infrastructure and service. Also, the NPP promised to full rollout GIPC platform to all public institutions and commit to a budget deficit of not more than 5%, legislate a fiscal advisory council, and will ensure regular transfer of funds into the DACS as required by the Constitution. Moreover, they will also introduce a local public account committee that allows the audit committee at the sub-national level to hold public officers accountable. And also the National Democratic Congress, on the other hand, promises to improve revenue utilization, improve compliance with public procurement laws, to stop the abuse of sole source and digitalized and harmonized fiscal management system, and restore the Treasury's single account. Additionally, they intend to implement the provision in the Public-Private Partnership Act to support infrastructure finance. And the movement for change intends to achieve the 5% fiscal deficit ceiling in the Fiscal Responsibility Act, Act 982, within 2 years. Reform the public procurement rules.
Kumi, hello, Kumi, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can.
Before I let you go, I mean, let's wrap up on this. So, what exactly are speakers proposing to the political parties to plug the gaps?
Please come again.
I'm asking,
I can't hear you.
Can you hear me now clearly?
Yes, I can.
So, I was asking, what are speakers proposing to the political parties?
I can't hear you. Hello.
Hello, Kumi, can you hear me now?
Yes.
So I was asking, what are speakers proposing to the political parties to plug the gaps?
So what are the political parties doing?
To plug the gaps.
Investing heavy amounts of money into reforming our public financial management so that we are fiscally disciplined and do not jump in and out of IMF programs or economic reform programs. And so for 5 times, we seem not to get to the task, or we seem not to be clear about what really we want to do, and we are not really addressing the challenges in our public financial management system. So if you look at the last 4 public financial management reform programs that we have done, and the current one that is being funded by the World Bank, if you look at the problems that all of these have sought to address, they seem to be the same. So since 1997, because we have not been committed to real public financial management reform.
And that's all for business. We have sports coming up soon. In sports, Legon Cities will be aiming for their first win of the season when they entertain Asante Kotoko in the Outstanding Premier League match on Wednesday, October 30, 2024 at the University of Ghana Stadium. The Royals are wreck button after a difficult start to the 2024-2025 Premier League campaign. Kwesi Fabian's men are willness in 6 matches and will need a dig deep to overcome Asante Kotoko. The Porcupine Warriors trail league leaders Golden Star FC by 1 point in second position with 14 points. That's all for sports. Let's move on to some international stories. The European Union Election Observer Mission has said some voting results in Mozambique's presidential election have been doctored. The EU observers reported irregularities, including the unjustified alteration of election results at some polling stations and districts. Additionally, some observers were prevented from observing tabulation process in certain areas. This has raised concerns about the integrity of the electoral process and the accuracy of the final result. The opposition has already alleged fraud and manipulation, with independent presidential candidate Vinicio Mandal calling for a nationwide protest. The situation has escalated with the killing of two prominent opposition figures, lawyer Elvino Diaz and party official Paulo Gombe, and in attack at their car. Let's go for some entertainment stories as well. In entertainment, actress Nadia Buari has taken to social media to express her heartfelt condolences to the families of the two young girls who lost their lives in the devastating East Legon incident. On Instagram, the beautiful actress shared a whole-heart message acknowledging the unimaginable pain and grief the affected families are enduring with such a loss. She grieved about how a future has been lost and difficult for the family to come to terms with the unfortunate incident, noting that it's too painful to remember and too painful to forgive. She wrote, "I can't believe this happened to these beautiful little girls." Now, British actor Idris Elba, known for the iconic role in The Wire and Luther, has announced plans to relocate to Africa within the next decade. This bold move is part of his mission to support the continent's expanding film industry and empower Africans' storytelling.
Myself, I have a
Elba, whose parents hail from Sierra Leone in Ghana, has a deep connection to Africa. He believes he's essential for Africans to tell their own stories rather than relying on external perspectives. Elba plans to build a film studio in Zanzibar, Tanzania, in Africa, in Ghana, when the goal of creating a global entertainment hub. He envisions a collaborative effort where African filmmakers can produce high-quality content, and his studio will serve as a hub for storytelling and talent development. Elba estimates that his project will take around 10 years to fully develop, emphasizing the need for him to physically present on continent to oversee its growth. And that's how we wrap up on today's Midday Bulletin. My name is Eric Mello. Do well to join us tomorrow, same time. It has been a pleasure coming your way. Thanks for watching.